Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 of a best of 3 between Gonzo and Karma in the semi-finals of the Season 5 playoffs of the Steel Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Zbuczyn, and on our left in the red team we have Gonzo playing on the Allied side using the 2nd New Zealand division and the balanced deployment type. And on our right, in the blue team, we have Karma playing on the Axis side using the 12th SS-Panzer and the Vanguard deployment type. So previously, Gonzo and Karma in Season 4 met each other in the final, which was an absolutely awesome final. So if you missed those replays from way back when, make sure to go check out that final because that was awesome. So today I'm hoping for some more awesome gameplay from these two. Karma was getting a bit cocky in the quarterfinals, so we'll have to see if he can put his money where his mouth is against Gonzo in this one, which is a particularly large step up from JKW, I must admit. But yeah, this map, we don't see it terribly often, so this is also a rather good opportunity for us to see something new here. And also the 2nd New Zealand, a division that I haven't really had much chance to cover in a competitive setting since it was added to the game. So let's have a quick look at what's going down on either side. Also, please remember that both the games, or all the games in the finals, were played before the Burning Baltics DLC and the range changes were in place. So Gonzo's got the field engineers on the top side here with the Spandau HMG. I believe that has a 50 cal, and then, oh, not a 50 cal, a MG42. There's a 6-pounder, and then there's a Sherman 3 and a Wolverine at the start. So the Sherman 3, you get plenty of those as a second New Zealand for sure. They are quite in abundance in this division, so you're going to see a lot of them at 2-star veterancy. Diggers with Piat and Digger Leader there. No veterancy, actually there is a little bit of veterancy there, sorry I could barely see it. There is veterancy on these Diggers. And then there's the Sherman 3. And then there's going to be Hoplites with the 6-pounder in front, and then further down we've got the field engineers, the Spandau MG again, 6-pounder, 6-pounder. There you go, that's going to be Gonzo's deployment. On the side of Karma, got the Panzer Grenadiers there with the Aufklärer, MG42, 259, and the Pioneers in the half-track. Towards the centre it's going to be 2 MG42s, Panzerschreck, Panzer Grenadiers, 2 259s, an 88 at the start, with a Pioneer in half-track, and a Panther D, and a Grilla. Interesting to see a Grilla, especially considering they weren't very powerful at this point, but have been since the range rework. Panzer Grenadier here, and 2 259s heading to the bottom side. So this is quite a nice choice for Karma, because he can use these armoured cars at close range to help deal with Gonzo's infantry. And this Panzer Grenadier just got to kind of sit in a nice position here and cover across the road with its machine guns, and it should be just fine for the time being. So Zbuczyn is a quite open map, honestly. There's a lot of open line of sight. If I just like show you guys, there's quite a lot of like longer range engagements that you can get. So having a Panther D in the middle here enables him to fire all the way into this town and kind of cover this road where the Sherman is, honestly. If he moves more to the right, he could fire all the way in there. The Sherman currently trying to deal with the MG42s. Another thing I did want to talk about is the use of the balanced deployment type with the 2nd New Zealand for Gonzo. Balance isn't really something you see that often, but it's certainly more favourable these days in 1v1s, especially since the range rework. I think balanced has definitely had a big resurgence in 1v1s. The only person who was like very prevalent in playing the 1v1 balanced playstyle was Sean, but we haven't really seen Sean in the upper tiers of Steel Division for a while, because I guess he just hasn't been playing. But either way, interesting to see it on Gonzo, but also with the 2nd New Zealand, which is a division that relies on medium armor, like a medium armor playstyle. So unless Gonzo's kind of got some special thing up his sleeve here, like, it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. I guess Gonzo's just going to try and outlast Karma in the early game, and then in the late game just take it home with the abundance of Shermans, especially if he uses like the light cover to his advantage and maybe the buildings as well. But not really too much going on. Both players quite conservative about their engagements early on. No PTRSs or any sort of like bazookas or anything moving up roads and taking out enemy units. Nothing like that. No flamers rushing into each other. No initial engagements. Both players just quite happy being a little bit more conservative. The field engineers have got into a good position here, but having come under fire by the 259, Gonzo's unlikely to push back into that again. He's going to have to wait for Karma's infantry to push forwards first and then bring up some tanks to back him up. But it looks like Karma's got a way to deal with this. He's going to be bringing in the 500 kilogram bomb. That's going to do plenty of damage. Actually only kills the unit that was on one man and ends up pinning his own units quite a bit. So these field engineers still have a good chance there of managing to get some kills onto the enemy squads, or at least like trading a HE grenade. Obviously the pioneers throw their HE and the field engineers throw their HE. The field engineers will definitely die whilst the pioneers will survive because of the squad size. But either way, getting a good amount of damage onto those pioneers will be quite favourable for Gonzo. There we go, both of them going to be launching that TNT at each other. Oh, will the field engineers get away from that one? Oh, they did! Nice. But the 259s will be able to catch them out as they try to fall back. Those Panzergrens, actually, they're going to get blown up. So now the field engineers can just move and sit on the pioneers. And the nice thing about field engineers under the New Zealand is that they have Thompson submachine guns. So they actually have a pretty good DPS at close range compared to, let's say, a field engineer of the 15th Scots. So Sherman 3's creeping up on the top side of the map. It's mostly there just to help deal with these half tracks. So it looks like each player trying to find little advantages. But Gonzo being, I would say, the more proactive one at the moment. Looks like Karma's trying to build up for a little bit of a push in the centre. But Gonzo's quite happy just sitting here with return fire on his infantry, waiting for that push to come through. Got his Wolverines moving up. They can help deal with the Panther D if they get into a good position. Oh, the loader knock. That is a good crit for him, but he can't really follow up on it. The Wolverine's unlikely to penetrate the Panther D from that range. Good kills from the Sherman though. Managed to take out the half track. 259 already dealt with, so that's the flag going over in favour of Gonzo, and it's back to 12 to 12. Karma did have a little bit of a lead there, bleeding some tickets from Gonzo. It looks like it's just going to build up to a pretty big duel here. 2 Panzer IVs, one a Panzer IV-J, one a Panzer IV-H. And then you got the Sherman 3 here and 3 Wolverines facing off against each other. Loads of infantry on either side. I think what will end up happening is the 259 will move forwards, reveal one of the diggers. The diggers will pop that with the Pier, and then we'll see the infantry engagement start. Something like that. Aufklärer moving forwards. We've got the mortar fire coming in here from... Ooh, Panzertrek. Cheeky kill there. Oh, and a gun jam on the Wolverine as well. Oh, Karma. Really nice sneak up with the Panzertrek onto the Sherman, and now with the kill onto the M10, things are going to start. Gonzo's just going to do a runner. He doesn't want to take that engagement, especially with the Guerrilla covering from a distance. He doesn't want to come under fire from all this fire support, and his diggers are getting absolutely blasted. Karma unleashes all of his weaponry. These diggers are getting chewed up, both of them onto one man, both of them now dead. Sherman 3 coming in, more reinforcements running fast into the town. He's got to control that, because that could get very, very bad. Both players know how to exploit just a little bit of weakness in each other's defenses. So, yeah, Gonzo's trying to clean that up quickly, because that was not good. It was a perfect start to that push. Let's see if Karma can make a bit more ground because of it. Technically, Gonzo did see this flag with that push, so Karma's quite happy to continue taking tickets away from Gonzo. But that's going to be the Wolverine picking off the 259. Hoplites now engaging Pioneers. Pioneers, I mentioned this before, they're not terribly good at a mid-range engagement. Oh, but that is a lovely kill. The Wolverine there, taking out one of the Panzer IVs. Taking out the Panzer IV-H, actually, which is probably more important. We're going to see the half-track go down. It looked like... Did that have infantry in it? Because that was really bad if it did. Wolverine goes down. Panther D. Did that take a penetration? It did. Yep, Panther D is now damaged, thanks to the Wolverine. Panzerstreck is found by the Hoplites as they push forwards. So it looks like Gonzo's making a bit of ground back here, and the Panzer IV gets hit by the Sherman. Okay, what was initially a really good push there for Karma has now been pulled apart by Gonzo using those Shermans. And now this infantry much less supported than it once was. These Pioneers not really able to deal with this commando infantry very well. Guerrilla trying to get into a position where it can fire onto these infantry squads. Probably will get a good shot into the diggers here. Guerrilla's been pretty invaluable. Gonzo just jumped that forwards there to get it out of dodge. Oh, nice bombing strike. Does a significant amount of damage to the Hoplites, but the Bofors might shoot it down. Bofors do have really high rate of fire. They're pretty damn effective. Looks like Karma's going to get away with that one. We see Karma bringing in an Aufklärer and two MG42s further down. Looks like he's going to try and solidify his position on the bottom side of the map here. Kitty Hawk now coming in though. There is an 88 on the side of Karma, so I don't think that Kitty Hawk's going to get the job done. No, gets forced back. But there's a lot of Shermans here, and those are definitely doing a lot of work. The Panther D did get taken out, and the Guerrilla. Like, all these Shermans just continued to push through there and took out a lot of units, but another Panther D is on the field, so these Shermans do have to be careful. You can see that Gonzo is running for the wind. He's getting those Shermans back into cover, away from that Panther. He doesn't care so much about the engagements with the Panzer IVs, although a ranged engagement with a Panzer IV is more likely to fall in favour of the Panzer IV due to its extra accuracy, especially in this case where like the Shermans from Gonzo are only 1 star. Obviously 2 star with the digger leader nearby, but Panzer II, or these Panzer IVs in this case, are 2 star vet base, so they have an inherent accuracy buff anyway. The Panther D is the main problem though, and that can't be ignored. Panzergrens actually going to take out a lot of men from this squad. The poor Greek soldiers getting absolutely demolished in the open there. Oh no. MG42s wiping them out. Sherman's going to try and return some fire. Oh, looks like the Panzer IV-J there took a shot. There is a 6-pounder in the town now. If this 6-pounder manages to move into the back garden, it could do quite a lot of damage pretty quickly to the forces of Karma, because it is pretty close range. This is a 1,000-meter range engagement, which for a 6-pounder is an easy pen, especially with the APCR. Well, now we've got an engagement between the Panzer IV and the Sherman III. Mortifiers coming in from Karma as he takes that engagement. Gonzo backs off, and rightly so. If he'd taken a mortar shell there after being hit by the Panzer IV, that might have actually killed his Sherman, so that wouldn't have been good at all. Meanwhile, on the top side, the Sherman's been pushed back here by the advance of 2 Panzer IVs, and Karma's trying to get some Panzer Grenadiers in here to clean out the Field Engineers, but the Field Engineers are still holding strong. Kitty Hawk's dropped the bomb. Will it kill the Panzer IV? No, it won't. Nearly. 2 more Field Engineers arriving to back up the ones already there. Currently 14 to 10 in favour of Gonzo. No double tick just yet, but looks like Karma's going to go for a bit of a push here, further down. The Panther D is now moving up, supported by the Guerrilla and the Panzergrens. Also the MG42s in position to shoot at things from range. The Field Engineers are, I guess, probably just going to get fire positioned by the Guerrilla if Karma decides to do so. Generally, when you're using those sort of units like the Guerrilla, you generally want to fire position them because they have a really high splash damage and also suppression as well. Or the Wolverines, are they all going for the engagement with the Panther D? I think they are. He's really committing to that. Wow. This Panther D can bounce a lot of shots. But can it bounce one from the 6-pounder? No, it can't. Oh, and as it retreats, does it show side armor enough? Oh, no. No, it doesn't. Panther D is going to be okay for now. Guila firing away onto the Sherman on the ridge. Ooh, that Sherman just missing there. Very, very close. On this top side, bit of a standoff. Looks like the field engineers that tried to come in did get killed off. Almost killed the Panzergrenz up there. Starting to see these Panzergrenz find the field engineers at close range. Will Karma manage to jump out in time? You might not even notice that engagement, honestly. No. Because he's so busy pushing with all of these different units. He's got the Panther Ds coming in. He's focusing his Focke-Wulf 190 to take out the 6-pounder. Kitty Hawk comes in to intercept, but isn't quite going to do the trick. And the Focke-Wulf even comes in and almost shoots it down. Will it be able to finish it off? No, not this time around. The Focke-Wulf pulls away at an inopportune time. Well, actually, might still get it. Might still get it. Yep, he does. Just in time. Oh, big artillery strike comes in. I'm not even sure what that was fired at. I think it was aimed maybe at the M10 Wolverines. The Wolverines move up aggressively, and one of them gets taken out by the Pak-40 and the Panzer IV there. Karma's now found the 15-9. That is a double tick for Karma. This is a really good position for Karma to be in right now. Looking to finish off the Sherman 3, but we are now into phase B. Income is currently equal between the two players, but as soon as we move into phase C, Gonzo will have the advantage for the rest of the game. So Karma's going to want to finish things sooner than later. He started to invest in a 280mm Werflammens. Unfortunately, I think the first strike kind of whiffed pretty badly, so didn't really get much value out of it. He's going to be looking for a second strike here, which I think is aimed at the Bofors, but I assume that's going to miss. It might be lucky and go right to the edge of the circle and do enough damage to the Bofors, but I doubt it. It's strange to see Karma investing his Werflammens on units he can't see, because a good player like Gonzo is going to move his AA every now and then. Kitty Hawk comes in for another bombing strike, misses the Panzer IV again. Focke-Wulf gets the kill. Nicely done, Karma. Good reactions there. That rocket strike completely wasted. The Sherman 3 gets taken out by the Pak-40. That Pak-40's done pretty well. It's taken out a Wolverine and a Sherman now. Panther D helps take out the Digger Leader, but the Digger Leader replies with the Piat kill. Oh, that is beautiful. Not often you see Piats get the job done, and well, yeah, Karma's infantry may be fanatical, and he uses that to his advantage as he blows them up in order to kill the Greek soldiers. The guerrilla there taking them out. 88 now being moved up. That will protect the flank of the Panther D. Wolverine moving in fast. If it can get into the garden here, it might be able to get a sneaky shot onto these, because there's not actually much in the way of recon further back. There's this recon, but that can't see towards this Wolverine. And this Alpha is like way too far forwards to actually help in that regard. But the guerrilla going to get taken out by the 6-pounder. Wolverine does take a shot from the Panther D. Panzergren's now engaging uplights there. And it looks like Karma has managed to get a hold of that top side completely now. Both sides lost their infantry, but Karma maintaining the hold with the Panzer IV-J. So currently 13-11 again. Gonzo managed to get the double tick under control, which is important at this point. Here comes the Werflammen. That's coming down on the 6-pounder there by the looks of things. Looks like it might survive. Again, a bit of a blind artillery strike. He has an Aufkladder right here, so he would know if there was anything there. That's, again, a bit of an odd one to me. These 280mm Werflammens have really not been very effective so far. They are such strong units, but we haven't seen a single kill from them, which is unfortunate. Even if it was just onto something like an AT gun, I think it would probably be worth it over time, especially if you had the supply to reload them. Alright, the Panther D cleans up the Wolverine nicely. 88 actually takes out the 6-pounder on top of the hill. And now we see a little bit of a combined force push here. The armoured car backing up the Panzergrens against the Greek units. Fighting through the factory buildings. Forcing them back, getting Karma the flag. That's going to be 14 to 10. Now we've got supply coming in for the Werframmens. New Bofors is on the field. Obviously the rockets of one of these Werframmens was trying to shut down the Bofors previously. But it looks like Gonzo is well aware that Karma's trying to shut that down. So bringing in the second one, also that will give him more lethality against these Focke-Wulfs. And maybe give him the chance of shooting them down. Although this is potentially a mistake here from Karma, leaving that Focke-Wulf out like that. Taking 3 shots from the Bofors for quite a while. Manages to evac it in time, so that's not so bad. And the Greek soldiers again, the Oplites trying to run away. MG42 going to be opening up. That's definitely going to do a little bit more damage there. I think Gonzo just needs to get more of these Shermans into position ASAP. Yeah, here we go. Werframmen's going for the Bofors. That will open up more potential strikes from Focke-Wulfs, which may be something that Karma's trying to do. Yeah, as soon as that's gone, here comes the Focke-Wulf for the strafing run. Back to 15 to 9. Karma's got a real hold on this game right now. There's of course a new Bofors, and that's going to be able to prevent that Focke-Wulf from continuing strafing, but this SPW-231 does finish the job there. We got the engineers moving hard on the bottom side with a couple of Shermans. The light cover is perfect for these Sherman engagements. As long as it doesn't bump into a Panther that already has sight of them, then it should be fine. And what I mean by that is, if there was, say, a Panther here, and then like an infantry squad ahead of them that could see the Shermans coming, then the Panther would pre-aim, and therefore would always get the victory in that engagement. So it's pretty important that you have like infantry ahead, even just to scout for your tanks at close range. And we got the Shermans engaging the 88 here. These are the 105mm Shermans blasting away from the ridge against the 88. Going to be pinning that down and looking to kill them off. Panther D is kind of out of position to take care of those. Might not have time to stop that from dying. It looks like just about. Also, meanwhile, a couple of Shermans came up here, cleaned out the Panzer IV and the half-track that were holding that flag. So Gonzo managing to stop the 15 to 9 again as we move into Phase C. So Phase C has now come upon us, and that means that for the rest of the game, Gonzo is going to have a huge lead in terms of income. And he's got to try and utilize that income to win the game before Karma does at this point. Now, Karma's obviously at a disadvantage from this point forwards, but he still has Panthers up his sleeve. So as long as he plays well further back and at range, then he should be fine. He's managed to take out one of the Sherman 1Bs already. These Sherman 1Bs don't have any heat, so they aren't really a threat to something like a Panther D at range, compared to the ones that come in like the 3rd US. This Sherman, though, gets a beautiful side shot, and it looks like this one's going to be able to shoot in the side as well. That's one way to clean up a Panther D. Lovely positioning there from Gonzo, gets the job done. Might also get a free MG42 kill to go with that. Yep. And here comes the Werframmens again, going for the next Bofors. So this time around, Karma made sure to ping the AA that Gonzo had, so that he could know where it was for the next Werframmen strike, and that's certainly going to get the job done there. But it looks like Karma's losing quite a lot of ground pretty quickly here on this bottom side. With the Panther D being taken out and the 88 and everything else down here, that's seeded a lot of flags very quickly in favour of Gonzo. And Karma's going to really start to feel that lack of income. having lost his Panther down here. And it looks like in the middle his Panther also went down at some point. Like he lost the one over here to the Piat kill. I could have sworn there was one in the middle somewhere as well. But either way, Karma looking pretty light on units right now, whilst Gonzo is still going to be able to brute force his way through this game with his balanced deployment type. Gonzo moving down with the Shermans to help take care of the 259 and allow these Hoplites to continue their engagements. Because that is not a place you want to be. Those poor Greek soldiers getting absolutely minced. The Sherman's just a little bit too slow. Both of those squads went down. Rocket strikes coming in onto an infantry squad. Not too handy. The thing here is these Panzergrens don't have any OT, and Gonzo knows that, so he's pretty much free to just run through them as much as he wants, and he's going to continue to push his units forwards. And I'm pretty sure at this point in the game, Gonzo's going to be pretty optimistic that he can finish things off because of his deployment type. He's got a strong amount of Shermans there that will be able to deal with the Panzer IV should it push back. These Werflamens really haven't had the difference that they should have made in this game. If these had targeted like more of Gonzo's tanks maybe earlier on, and then maybe Karma could have leveraged his early armor lead to take more flags, rather than focusing on AA when he's barely using any bombers anymore. And also by focusing on AA, it gives Gonzo a clear, clear something to buy in to replace. So he knows that Karma's focusing on his AA, so all he's going to do is buy more AA, right? Whereas if you focus the armor, yes, you might buy more armor, but because you've got the armor on your side of things already in position, you can make a counterplay. Whereas a bomber doesn't make you any ground on the ground. So that inherently makes things a lot slower. The Focke-Wulf 190 G3s though are pretty scary. In this case, doing quite a lot of damage there to the Sherman 3 will allow the Panzer IV 231 to engage that, potentially surrender them. But this bottom side is a big problem here. Like on Zbuczyn, it's quite a lot of flags in this forest. These are quite condensed down here. You got these like 2 flags there, and there's 1 flag there. There's also the flag here. So this is kind of like the 50-50 engagement area. Well, more say here. But there's 2 flags that can easily be taken on both sides if one side has an advantage. And Gonzo's managed to take this kind of later on, after breaking down the forces that were pushed in aggressively through here. So really good job by Gonzo, bringing in more of his Sherman 3s. He's just going to have loads and loads of these Sherman 3s in the late game, for sure. Focke-Wulf 190, looking for the bombing strike, is going to know that there's more Bofors hanging about. Werflamen coming down. Will this be effective? Gonna hit those infantry bang on. But that will also pin down his Panzergrens, so they can't go for the surrender. Oh, the Bofors took down the G3. 15-9 in favour of Karma now. Oh, sorry, in favour of Gonzo. Gonzo now pushing the double tick. Has been for a little while. 13 minutes until a Gonzo victory. Slowly but surely, it looks like Karma's kind of running out of steam here. Has brought in another couple Panther Ds. This Panther D is not really in an ideal position. Not unless he can back it up with significant infantry. Because he's going to need the infantry to push through the cover so that his Panther D can move forwards without being at risk from a Piat. Because otherwise you lose a Panther D in that position really fast. Or the Sherman, this is damaged, but oh, that's an armor crack. Armor crack is a one-shot kill. Beautiful crit there for Gonzo, gets away with that one. See the Focke-Wulf coming in for a bit of a strafing run there onto one of the 6-pounders, but this 6-pounder is still engaging with its APCR. The APCR going to slowly chip that Panther D's health. not a place you want to be. Looks like Karma's going to be desperately pushing in here. 231 going to follow up the Panther D, but that's going to be it. It was 12-12, but Karma knows that he's ran out of units at this point in the game, and after 27 minutes and 33 seconds, there's no coming back as a Vanguard versus a Balanced. So there you have it. Gonzo takes the victory. Nicely done. I think the biggest problem with that game for Karma was the rocket strikes. If those rocket strikes had been placed just a little bit better, just used to pin down infantry or tanks, he would have been able to make more ground. And if you can break through that center town and get a Panther into a position to cover the reinforcement roads, then he's going to be in a really good position. But unfortunately, that didn't really come to fruition. It was the correct sort of strategy, I think, but then he ended up going for the AA instead, which would have opened up the use of the Focke-Wulf bombers. But then we didn't really see too much investment in those bombers in the first place, and therefore, couldn't really get ahead on kills at any point, I don't think. It was pretty risky at one point for Gonzo, sort of in the 10 to 15 minute mark in the game, where Karma was making some decent progress on the bottom side of the map, but once Gonzo managed to break that down, he was starting to push back elsewhere. And also that engagement on the very top side of the map was really backwards and forwards the whole time. But 2,640 kills to 2,140 losses in the end between Gonzo and Karma. Kills, we got the field engineers did really well at the start there. They really did. The bombing strike kind of missed the mark, and then Gonzo made the most of that, getting 2 infantry squads out of 3 field engineers, which is really, really nice. Because these field engineers aren't that expensive, whilst Panzergrens really are. The Shermans traded okay. Obviously, killing a Panther D with a Sherman is paying itself off quite significantly. But it mainly came down, I think, to the 6-pounder in this case. And also the Piat kill onto the other Panther D was something that probably shouldn't have happened, but I think Karma got pretty unlucky, actually, there. Those Piats don't have the best accuracy as it is, and it was also really pinned down, so the fact that it did manage to hit was an absolutely hero shot from that leader squad. The Focke-Wulf 190s just really didn't perform that well, but especially considering it seemed like, due to Karma focusing on the AA, that he was almost reliant on those Focke-Wulfs, which was kind of weird to me. More of a push forwards with Panzergrens and the Panzerschrecks, I think, would have been better. One thing that has been interesting so far throughout the tournament is relying on Pioneer squads. And yes, Pioneers can be okay, but when they're engaging at range, they're just so bad compared to other infantry squads. And so in town engagements especially, where you're generally engaging past 100 meters, Pioneers never pay themselves off, ever. He did get some good kills with his Pack 40, that did really well, killing a couple Wolverines there and the Sherman 3. That was the one that was placed in the centre. But yeah, later on, not too much coming out of Karma there, but early on, I think Karma had a real chance. He just kind of squandered it when the 280mm rockets didn't really do anything, and therefore couldn't really break through the town the way that he probably could have. But regardless, that was a very cool game. It's always great to see these two Titans of Steel Division 2 duel it out. Gonzo takes the first game in this best of 3. Let's see if Karma can bring one back in game 2. Gonna have to do it in game 2 because he doesn't have a best of 5 series like he did in season 4. So there we go. Let's see how he gets on. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.